Hello everyone and welcome to episode 95 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series, where today we're going to have a very similar episode to last week's episode where I want to do some story and then do a little bit of map completion, where we currently have a Grizzly shipment as our current story mission. Board of the submarine and travel to the Ark's location, where we want to go ahead and try to cut off Zaitan's source of bodies that he is using to basically reinforce his army. And we want to go ahead and we have this marker here in the center, but I believe it's actually at the Fort Trinity docks. Once we load into the map, it will change to that location. A fun little detail that we can see in our top right corner of our screen is that there's actually a down arrow pointing us down on top of the regular down arrow pointing us down on the mini map, where we are of course going to go ahead and enter the submarine docks, which we explored when we came to Fort Trinity. And this is such a cool location where we can go ahead and ride a submarine. At least lore wise, we're going to be riding a submarine. Alright, let's go ahead and get started with this mission, a Grizzly shipment, where we have this cool loading screen art that I believe we've seen before of this Kraken with a couple of ships.
It's amazing how fast we traveled while completely submerged. Look how far we came. Now the hard work begins, though.
That's right. I expect heavy resistance, but we need to push deep into the Ark's main hold. That's where Maver comes in.
I'm ready. I have plenty of Ascalonian ghost fire. It'll spark a conflagration to consume the Ark and everything in it. Remarkable stuff, ghost fire. It's unrelenting and it burns underwater. When we're done, there won't be any bodies left for Zaitan to reanimate. Hats off to the Char. They took their most implacable enemy's most dangerous weapon and made it their own, and then they gave it to us.
A demonstration that we need to work together to defeat Zaitan. Commander, it's your mission. Lead on.
It's so cool to arrive here via submarine, but we can now...
This water tastes terrible. How does Zaitan spoil the whole ocean?
Baruch is here as well, but we can now go this way to the Ark, and it is a massive ship, and there are a lot of mines down there, and there's another smaller ship you can see right there. So let's go ahead and take this slowly.
And mines. Stay alert. We can't afford to lose anyone on this mission.
And just try to work our way through here, because I remember this mission being pretty buggy in the past, so I want to try to make sure I don't accidentally bug it. Let's go ahead and summon our flesh golem. Take care of these two crate first probably, and then we can get onto the smaller ship. We want to make sure we navigate around the mines, around them, not through them, around. Deal with that one. And then let's get onto here where there are some corrupted tendrils. We can see a massive abomination. We just got knocked back into the water. But it's fun to see a variety of different characters here with us on this mission. I think that's everything on the small boat. We can now go ahead and enter this properly. Where there are... Oh, it's a good thing we got hit into the wall there. Let's try to defeat this corrupted tendril. They are pretty easy to defeat, it looks like. Maybe we can one-shot this one even. Yeah, we did. Looks like there's a small group of Risen right here. It was fun to be doing kind of like naval combat in a way, where we just snuck over towards the ship via submarine, and we are now boarding the ship and basically kind of infiltrating it to sabotage it. Don't mind me as I just deal with these abominations potentially. Hopefully I don't die in the process. There's one over there that I easily killed, and so easy. Some very interesting undead down this way. And I remember the bugs with this mission was if you run through here too quickly, the NPCs will get stuck, and then you won't be able to progress the mission until you get them unstuck by being super patient or resetting the mission. So let's go ahead, just clear everything out, as I do tend to enjoy doing. I have this risen rotmouth here. It's gonna like spawn more undead for us to fight potentially. I have another one on the opposite side over here that we can go ahead and try to deal with. I've been saying this so much, but I really do enjoy like the build we got going on right now. And I definitely want to change up my armor in the future as we unlock more stuff. And I have like some ideas for how I want to like decorate this character, but I'm not 100% certain yet. I might go ahead and like spend some time on like my main account, maybe trying to do some like test runs of like some different armor combinations. And as we continue to play through the game, our character might of course evolve over time. And there are a lot of bodies in here. Let's go ahead and come through.
The ghost fire's ready when you are, Commander.
So let's go ahead and place the ghost fire in here. I'll take one. And let's go ahead and put it maybe in the center of this mass of bodies. The mine is placed. And do we need to put a couple down? Go ahead, take another one. So there's a second one. Maybe on the far side of the room we could place a third one, where I see a risen crate. And I'm not sure how many we have to place. So let's just keep trying, I suppose. There we go. Looks like they just are detonating now.
Running much faster than I expected. Our tests weren't done in water with this much salinity. It's accelerating the spectral combustion. We've lost control of the situation. Evacuate now.
So evacuate now. Escape from the burning ark. Let's get up out of here.
What it is not to do. That fire isn't stopped. I want to get as far from it as I can.
So some of the undead are on fire, which I guess is a good thing. And ultimately this is a success because we are destroying the ark right now. But we need to try to get out of here and make sure everybody gets out alive. So hopefully everyone just follows me. I think the staircase up is here. Let's get to higher ground. I like Mave's voice acting there. Let's go ahead, climb up this staircase. This should be able to take us to higher ground. Make sure we don't get attacked by anything on the way up.
We saw those ghostly flames and came as fast as we could. Bit ahead of schedule, wasn't it?
A bit. Turns out ghost fire works a little too well in these conditions. Thanks for the sharp eye and the quick save.
Yes, excellent work. We didn't just deprive Zaitan of a shipload of soldiers. We destroyed the ship itself.
That's right. This tub is done making deliveries to ore. The dragon will just have to make do with its existing shamblers.
Congratulations. Now, we need to get you out of here, fast. I'm aboard if you're coming.
After you, Commander. This success has me thinking. When we return, I wish to discuss a few other areas of the Pack's mission that could use your help.
That's just so cool. We came in on a submarine to attack this boat and the small boat right next to it, which is like a massive ark carrying like basically bodies, and then we just blew it up with fire, and then we had to escape via the top, and we got rescued with a helicopter, and then there was an airship there basically kind of bombarding it to help finish the job. It's just, that was so cool. Such a cool mission. Let's go ahead, pick a reward. Nothing too important, no new skins for us. And we have a new mission further into ore, where we can establish a forward command post for the Pact, which is a very interesting story mission. And I'm going to go ahead and hold off on that one for now. And just like last episode, let's go ahead and swap to my Guardian and play through the mission we have next on that character. Which the next mission we have is Ossuary of Unquiet Dead, where we can go ahead and destroy the ossuary at the Orion Temple of Lissa. And we have the story mission right here, where we have like some pacts, priory, more specifically tents, including this one that we just loaded in front of, and we have Turn in here.
goal is to stop Zaitan's reinforcements. Our target is a Cathedral of Eternal Radiance on Or's north coast. It's essentially a factory that manufactures Zaitan's horde. I intend to shut it down, and I'm sending in a strike team to do just that. We don't know exactly how it functions, so I'm joining the team to make sure we have whatever rituals are required to get the job done. We'll pick up reinforcements on the way. Commander, you'll lead the strike team and protect me while I perform the rituals. Any questions?
None, Marshal. It's long past time we force Zaitan to fight its own battles instead of hiding behind minions. Ready when you are.
So, let's go ahead and get started, where we can gather additional pack soldiers along the way. Starting out this way, grant ourselves some swiftness. Continuing up this way, there's a risen chicken there. Should we just... This is like almost out of bounds. One shot the chicken. Fellow pack soldier, one shot that one over there. Let's go ahead, continue up this way. I feel like I should really upgrade the gear on this character soon. That might be something we take a look at. But the Cathedral of Lissa is so cool. So let's go ahead and grab these Vigil soldiers as well. Whisper's agent is hanging out. A couple of Priory. So we have a good team formed to be able to explore the Cathedral of Eternal Radiance. Let's just enter the Temple of Lissa properly, and then clear the temple's central platform so Traherne can perform his ritual. Over this way, see a little bit of stuff going on. Risen surgeons and an incomplete abomination up here.
By the pale tree, they're stitching that beast together from body.
Let's go ahead and just stop whatever's happening right here. This poor abomination, which actually looks slightly interesting, a little bit different than other abominations we've seen in the game. It's kind of just a horrifying thought as well.
Once, the Orions interred their dead here. Now Zaitan uses this place to craft abominations. Stand by. My ritual will show us how the ancient priests went about their grim tasks. Before Or sank, this was the final resting place of Lissa's most loyal followers. The deceased were brought here so the officiants could perform the appropriate funeral rites. We have to follow this ancient path to see where the bodies of Lissa's faithful ended up.
Traherne was a little slow on speaking there. Let's go ahead and follow this ghostly priestess of Lissa, which if you just take a moment, looks really, really cool. Let's go ahead and wander this way. There's like a red light in the sky there. A veteran risen knight who's going to be a little dangerous for us, and some other undead all around here. I think there's like a bunch of risen knights in this mission, just kind of like wandering about. There's a risen priestess of Lissa hanging out up here. Go ahead and try to group all of them up. Put it together. That's such a nice grouping ability. And then, wow, this priestess has a lot of health. Let's go ahead and try to unleash everything we have against her. We defeated all of her allies, but she still is at 70% health, basically. 143 stabs later. Let's go ahead and put like 7 more in. Finish off this priestess. Let's see what Traherne has to say, if he has anything to say.
Die by my hand.
Die by my hand, I suppose. But as we continue the ritual. Another ghostly priestess of Lissa.
The first stage of the rite is grief. The loved ones of the deceased played an integral role. Here, they were encouraged to express the pain and rage they felt over the passing. They had to release these potentially destructive emotions before the rites could proceed.
And I suppose we will continue following this ghostly priestess of Lissa. So a veteran risen knight that we could try to deal with.
Rites aren't done. I must perform my ritual at each key location.
So on to the next key location. This risen knight has a sword and shield, which is kind of fun. And he shadow steps. And then he evades a lot. He apparently reflects projectiles as well and has a lot of font ability, so we need to be careful of that. Ultimately, seems like a decently easy enemy to fight since we are having like a somewhat decent build going right now. And the next key location is right over here, where there's another priestess of Lissa that we're going to have to deal with. Probably a lot of health going on here as well. I'm assuming this is basically going to be like the same exact fight. Put everybody up and just spin, and yeah, she has quite a bit of health. You can swing away at this priestess and defeat her just like the last one, which will allow Traherne to continue the ritual here as he runs up. We can see what happens next.
Die by my hand!
This next step was largely ceremonial, but was observed by rich and poor alike. They offered a valuable gift in an attempt to persuade the priests to resurrect the dead. Naturally, the priests refused, but the act of offering and accepting rejection remained a part of the rite. Almost finished. There should be only one platform remaining.
So let's go ahead and clear the next platform all the way over here. And we did explore this area a little bit last week, but we can go ahead just take a closer look at some of the cool like decorations around here, where I do love like all the engravings and whatnot. Orion temples and buildings and whatnot are pretty intricate, and I think they're a really cool aesthetic, partially because of that. But here, yet again, another risen priestess of Lissa, and if I'm going to guess, just like the last two fights, this is going to be a very similar fight. Not too much going on, mostly just a spongy boss, so we can go ahead and fight. I kind of want to swap Save Yourselves for like maybe a more damage-based ability. That might be a good option for us. But let's go ahead and defeat this priestess of Lissa, and then we can go ahead and watch the next step of the ritual.
Finally, the family faced the inevitable reality that their loved one was gone. Here they were encouraged to mourn and to beseech Lissa to ease their pain. They prayed to their goddess for relief and to watch over the deceased in the mists. Return to the center platform. That's where their rite will end.
So we can return to the center to finish this process. And I just have a feeling there's going to be something bad for us in the center. A very, very cool looking statue. There's a lot of like catapults or trebuchets or whatever kind of just like built up right here. Can't really attack them. Some sort of like fortification right there. But there are a lot of risen eagles in the center, and they drop bombs, which I feel like is a really cool aesthetic. Kind of like a weak enemy who kind of just like soars above the people they're fighting and drops bombs upon them. Kind of an important part in Zaitan's army, of course. They play their own specific individual role. But let's bring Traherne here, and let's finish this ritual.
With the funeral rites complete, the deceased moved on to the ossuary. Next, they would prepare and inter the body. Ah, see there? They're taking the body down through that hidden door to the crypt below. That must be where Zaitan's minions are creating new risen soldiers. And that's where we need to be.
So let's go ahead and go through the door. I'm assuming the one that just opened up over there. which is kind of fun because in the open road, that door is actually shut, and we cannot access the area on the other side through this way, and we have to like go down and then up in order to get over here, which is where we went in order to get to the vista that's like right over here, if you remember. But there are a ton of Risen blocking the door here, so let's go ahead and fight this Risen Knight and then fight that group of Risen over there. It's kind of cool that we can see Duena's temple all the way off there in the distance, and we are just like slowly progressing further and further into Ore right now, where we spent a lot of time in the Straits of Devastation, starting on like the eastern end with Fort Trinity, and then we worked our way through the Straits and then into Malchor's Leap, where we were working on like the eastern side of Malchor's Leap, and now we've kind of progressed towards the rest of the map where we will have some more story missions. And I think this place in particular is an important spot to recognize for an upcoming story mission where we are up here on the surface of this temple. There might be something interesting below the temple. But first, let's go ahead and defeat this Risen Knight. And I think we are technically heading to a place that is kind of below the temple, but is also more of like an adjacent part to the temple. Three Risen Knights here. There's some spectral weapons up there that we're going to have to deal with. Put all these up. And then through this way, an Orient Spectral Guard is the first one waiting for us. Looks like 2 or 3 of them are patrolling. Is the skirmisher like a longbow? Is that what I see? I do just like the idea of like magical swords and shields. It kind of makes sense in like Ore and whatnot, because it's like a relatively magical place, and it's also kind of like a, you know, undeady place, and I feel like that fits both of those vibes. Defeat this Risen Knight. I wonder what exactly the Risen Knight is, because it kind of looks like some sort of like demon creature, but maybe it's something kind of like an abomination, where it does have wings, so it could be maybe like partially like a harpy sewn onto like some sort of like former knight or something. I have no idea. Maybe there's actually some story about that we could find. Down here this time, or last time we were here, we came up this ramp. A couple of guards just hanging out here. And we are heading towards the area where Abaddon was defeated by Grinth. So let's go ahead and defeat the Spectre Guard. So it's kind of an interesting area, or not Abaddon, Doom, where Doom was defeated by Grinth, where we can go ahead and kind of explore an area that's really related to death, because Doom was, you know, kind of like the god of death basically, and now Grinth is, since he took his place. Abaddon was defeated in a very, very, very far away location by Grinth and also the other human gods. Let's try to get a big group up here. That didn't work out too well. So pesky Risen group right here that didn't want to be pulled because it's getting hooked by the coral there. Go ahead and defeat you. And I do want a moment of respite really quick before we go fight the next thing. So let's leave combat and let's go ahead and swap out. Save yourselves. Let's go with maybe the classic Sword of Justice that people like to use on kind of like a power guardian build. We can go ahead and use that potentially to deal a lot of damage to the Spectre Guard if it didn't run away from me. And then we can combine it with all our other attacks as well. A Risen Spider Queen, 2 of them actually. So 2 Spider Queens in the same area here, and they are horrifying looking. This is an absolute nightmare for anybody with arachnophobia, and they're kind of making me a little uncomfortable right now, if I'm being completely honest. And their death animation is just disgusting. Let's defeat these 2 Spectre Guards. I feel like this Whisper's agent right now, if I'm being completely honest. Kind of just collapsed into the ground for no good reason at all. This is such an interesting area up here, with kind of like the spines or whatever. And let's continue over here, where there are some weird things on the ground, and the main entrance is blocked off, which is not like how it is in the open world, which is kind of fun. But it looks like we're pushing this way. Hand of the Risen is in here. So we need to destroy the necrotic urns. Let's go ahead, run around and break them all. It looks like there's Risen coming out of the coffins there that we're going to have to defeat. But maybe let's focus on breaking all the urns immediately, and then we can go ahead and clean them up. But this might also start like a new thing that we have to deal with.
Who dares? This is a sacred place. First to listen, now to Zaitan? Be gone, or you'll defile it.
You already defiled it when you betrayed Lissa and desecrated the remains of her followers.
Lissa is gone. We serve the dragon now. Try Zaitan and consume you all. Rise now and destroy these enemies of our master.
Some big fight going on in the background. There's a ton of risen everywhere. Let's go ahead and maybe try to focus the boss down, because he's probably going to be the most important thing for us to fight. And he's also very, very, very squishy, much easier to kill than the risen priestesses we were fighting, which I feel like is kind of fitting given the fact that this is just a prince.
Fall to your knees and wait for the dragon's embrace.
Zaitan's depravity continues to destroy everything it touches. At least now this place is safe. Well done, everyone.
We've crippled the dragon's spies, food, and troop supply. It's more vulnerable than ever. How do we exploit that?
We advance. I have a plan for a large-scale operation to push back enemy forces and establish base camps right here in Or. Now that operation can begin. All I need is time to regroup and organize our forces.
So mission complete. There's still a couple of undead attacking us, which is a little funny. No new skins for us. But now we have further into Orlon. This character, so we have progressed further into Chapter 8 of the Guild Wars 2 personal story and Act 3 of the story, which is fun. But let's go ahead and now swap back to my Necromancer, and we can go ahead and explore a little bit more of Malchor's Leap, which I guess I could also explore on this character as well. We are now 64% of the way complete with Malchor's Leap, and we have a ton more that we could explore. So let's go ahead and continue this way, and maybe we can head over towards what might be a bit of a spoiler, and maybe we could actually just do the next story mission now. Maybe that would be fun. So let's go ahead and run off in this direction. There's an event to get some bittersweet omnom berries, but let's go ahead and enter further into Or. I think this is kind of a quick story mission, so I guess it makes a little bit of sense to do it now, where we have Chahern right here that we can chat with.
You're just in time, Commander. We've established a perimeter, and we're shoring up the cavern's defenses. After your recent victories, Zaitan's forces are weakened. The dragon feels us growing closer, like a thorn digging deeper into flesh.
Now we know Zaitan can feel fear as well as rage. Its time in Tyria is coming to an end.
Brave words. Now let's make them come true. Come with me. The other commanders are inside. The grotto is this way. I'm told star-crossed lovers used to meet here. Be cautious. We're still clearing out the last of the Orions from here.
A few Orions right here, a couple of risen farmers.
With the destruction of the Orion Armada, it greatly hurt Zaitan's access to new soldiers.
Maybe two star-crossed lovers and their cow. Go ahead and finish this one off. Does Chahern have anything interesting for us to say? This risen arm does not want to die. Okay, let's leave it. And we can enter the grotto.
Makes a defensible command post. Only two ways in: this passage and the seaway.
The seaway being over there. We can see some water. A couple of nice tents in here. Order Whispers tents.
Dorn, Winnet, and Efoot are already here, preparing the next attack. We need a strategy. What are your recommendations for our next move?
Full offensive, sir. We've cut away Zaitan's supports. Now's our chance to attack the main force, while they're still reeling.
I agree, but a land-based offensive would hit where the dragon is strongest. If we attack from the sea, we'd do more damage.
Marshal, we've lost contact with the squad investigating lost artifacts. I want to send in an extraction team.
I see. Commander, a word. I need your input.
Marshal Traherne, a risen legion is approaching. I saw the sigil of the Orion royal house. I think they're coming from the tomb of Prince Alhazred.
In life, Alhazred was said to be a cruel, vicious man. Death will have not improved him. Prepare to defend the encampment. To arms!
So let's go ahead and defend the camp as it comes under attack. There's a big group arisen right here. Go ahead and just throw everything down on the ground. Use this. I feel like I'm a broken record, but this build is just so much fun. We're gonna have to change something up to make it a little bit less fun so we can appreciate more every now and then.
What is that?
What is what? A Risen Abomination is coming in? This is something you've seen a lot of, Churn. And you just... okay. Just obliterate that group and then try to focus the Abomination a little bit, give some single target damage, hop into Shroud really quickly, obliterate you, stab this Plague Bearer a couple of times.
They're not through yet. Stand fast.
And now it looks like they are coming through the underground waterway, so let's go ahead and defeat them. And if you have not noticed, we are below Lys's temple. We can kind of see kind of like the bottom level of the temple there. Some of the engraving. Some risen tendrils here that we don't have to deal with. Let's deal with the undead on the ground first. It's a very sad note about the Quaggins. And there is Prince Alhazred coming up this way, where he was a cruel man in life. So let's go ahead and just end his unlife here. Throw some stuff down on the ground, swap into Shroud, and spend a win just like on our Guardian. And we really won there. Defeat these two. And then we can go ahead and speak with Traherne, where there are a lot of people that we can chat with here. But we now have a very, very big decision where we can go after Zaitan's navy, find the missing squad, or take the tanks straight to the heart of Ore. And we need some more time to think, where we can like chat with different people. So we have a very interesting option here, where we have like the Gildersleeve story, where you ally yourselves with the Priory, the Vigil, or the Order of Whispers, and we now have the three orders. Each have their own plan, and we can pick one of the three plans, and we can pick a plan from one of the other orders. So this is kind of returning to like chapter 3, where we could like pick one of the different orders to help out, where we have three big arcs through the next part of the personal story, where we can pick the Vigil's plan, the Order of Whispers plan, or the Priory plan. And immediately I'm thinking about like maybe picking the Priory. And all three of these different arcs are actually really, really cool and important arcs, where we have a total of 9 different story missions coming up, 3 for each one. And for this character, I think I actually want to go with the Vigil's plan, because I feel like this story mission that we are about to experience, or the next 3 story missions we are about to experience, might be a little bit more impactful on this character. Where for the Whispers plan, I might actually do it on my Guardian, who's a member of the Vigil, and then the Priory plan I might do on my Thief, who is a member of the Order of the Whispers. So we're just going to change this up completely. So let's go ahead and chat with Traherne, where we can go ahead and pick the Vigil's plan, where we are going to take those tanks straight to the heart of Ore. So let's go ahead and pick this. Make sure I'm hovering over the right one. And we have completed the story mission further into Ore. And nothing too important for us. And we now have marching orders where we can secure the docks for packed delivery ships. Meet Tegwin near shelter docks. So let's go ahead and leave Malchor's Leap. We can see where that next story mission is going to be, but we are not going to do that for a little bit, I think. Shelter docks is this point of interest back in eastern Malchor's Leap. But let's go ahead and continue with some of our explorations here, where we can re-enter where we just went into for this story mission, where it looks like we have 2 points of interest and a hero challenge down here that somebody's fighting. Alexandra Duet, a very cool name for an ally, I suppose. So there's 10 out of 15 hero challenges, and we can get Reflection Cove. And we can actually just swim out here a little bit to see how cool this little area looks. And it's kind of precarious if you see like the massive structure and what it's currently being held up by. But I think that's everything over in this direction. Oh, there's one island over here and a vista. Almost forgot about that. Let's head this way. Some risen sea turtles. Nothing too nice over here. Here's this point of interest, mirror's handle. So, well, that's kind of, I just now realized. So we have Lissa, who is a very interesting goddess, and she has a lot of connections to like mirrors and whatnot. And there's the Mirror of Lys, I think is the name, which is like a very powerful artifact. But if you look at her cathedral and then this island here, we have the cathedral, which is a circle, which is like the mirror itself, and then we have this handle here. So if you just do this and around that, it kind of looks like a mirror, more, you know, upside down in a way. But that's a really, really cool thing that I just now noticed. Up over this way we have this vista, and I don't entirely remember how to get up here. It might start further this way actually. And then this looks like it would be it. We want to jump to here, and then there, and then here, and then up to here. Casually make our way up. It's a little steep here, but I think we can make it. Maybe over here. There we go. And then this is also a little steep, but not as steep. And then we can enjoy this vista. A cool shot of the temple. We are now 71% complete with Malchor's Leap, where we have a lot of stuff going on in this direction, and I think we could maybe hit the northwestern corner next. I feel like that makes a lot of sense. So let's go this way, and then we want to swim over to this island, which is actually a pretty prominent island where there's like a big meta event that actually goes through here. So I think there's like 3 meta like chains in this map. The anomalies in the water over there. Let's go ahead and swim over here, where the meta does start over here, but I don't think it's currently active. We keep getting netted by these risen again. Okay, just let me swim this way, please. Or let's go over here so we can explore. I believe it's called Jinx Isle, which it is. And then we have bashing, bauxite, alchemicals. The base is sealed up tight. Nothing is getting in or out. So this might be a little difficult in order to get the points of interest and stuff. Can I stop getting stunned, please? Alright, let's go ahead and run this way, where I think we can get to this point of interest, bauxite, alchemicals, and then we cannot go into the base currently. So let's swim up this way, and then I think we can get the waypoint and the point of interest over on the outside of the base. So over towards this window, I believe we'll unlock this waypoint for us, where it's kind of cool, where you can like specifically do an event to like basically power up this waypoint to make it uncontested, and it gives you like a checkpoint during the meta event here. But nothing too important that really goes on inside there, unless you need to do like some stuff for some different collections. I did do the meta event kind of recently, I guess a few months ago now, on a stream, and it was kind of interesting to go through it, but ultimately nothing too important. There is that Assur gate that I believe you just use to like teleport on top of the island to escape. But now let's see what's west of us, because I think there might be an area right over here we can explore. There's definitely some stuff that direction, including a very important ship, and I guess we can't really go this way anymore. So let's try to dodge all of these risen around here. I always find that Guild Wars 2 has like some very interesting like aquatic life that you never really pay too much attention to. Like there's like that triop right there, or triop, however you pronounce it. But we have Drowned Breen, where we just got 40 out of 60 areas and ore explored. So we are like over 2/3 of the way done. Where we can see this is a massive crashed ship here, kind of similar in design to the Ark that we just sunk. But this is an incredibly cool ship because it is called the Harbinger. And this is an important dead ship, a dead ship of Zhaitan, as it was the first ever one that was sunk. And it was sunk by Salma's Grace, a Crichton ship, which was captained by Kobaya Mariner. And this is related to the book Sea of Sorrows, of course. So largely just kind of a cool little point of interest with an important landmark that really means a lot for people who kind of read like the extra books in the Guild Wars franchise. We can see an important vista up there, so let's go ahead and jump right up to here. And I have very vivid memories of getting this vista for the first time. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe I struggled a tiny bit. I think I did fall like 2 or 3 times trying to get up to here, but this was just really like a standout vista for me. Or I think we jump there, or do we jump in the middle? I think, oh, you need to be careful to not fall. Oh, I say that and then I fall. Maybe if you jump here, and then we can get up to here. Here, there's an Orion chest part of the way up with a single piece of blue unidentified gear. So that's kind of insane. Incredible loot, but an incredible vista as well, hopefully. That was a very cool vista, actually. Very dramatic. But let's drop down into the water. That's the last vista in this map that we needed to get. Looks like there's a hero challenge up here, actually, over towards the statue of, it looks like Grinth. And there's some sort of spectral creature there. So let's get on to whatever Orion structure this is out here in the water. Maybe potentially related to the statue of Grinth. There's Spirit of Excess here. Let's go ahead and defeat you first. I somehow did not kill us with that one ability. Let's go ahead, commune with this place of power, a statue of Grinth. Very, very cool looking. But 80% complete with Malchor's Leap. Let's go ahead and jump over this way, take a quick look at our map. And I guess we can swim maybe like this potentially. I think if we come into the water here, we do have an incredibly sad location where we have an unnamed Quaggan village which has been completely taken over by the undead. You see a risen refugee there. So some of these Quaggans were just refugees just trying to live their best life, and unfortunately it is too close to ore and they were all turned into risen. A very, very sad sight there. We can see some land over here. I might just like sneak into here really quickly because there's this hero challenge right here that we can grab, and then maybe we'll go back into the water. I don't think there's anything specifically right here. We have this Quaggan right here. You know, this Quaggan is filled with anger and sadness, and we can help him experience his emotions here. We can get a hero challenge in the process. But I always find this village just so harrowing. And as somebody who really enjoys the Quaggans, I find this village just really emotional and kind of sad. Or, you know, more like super sad, I suppose. There's an unfinished Duena statues down here, where this is where the meta event starts, I believe, for the Temple of Zephyr's meta event. This point of interest is called Malchor's Anguish. And if you continue this way, there's another point of interest right over here in these rocks. We have a risen crate, like armada right here. And it looks like we have Arcadian deeps. So it's a deeps that has been taken over by Zaitan, kind of similar to the Quaggan village, but definitely less emotional because they're crate and crate are mean. Lights waypoint. So one of the last waypoints we have unlocked. And I think this is typically the waypoint that players come to for like the meta event, because I don't think it ever gets contested really. I'm not entirely sure, but I want to sneak back this direction. Maybe we'll just waypoint down here because there are a couple map completion objectives over here we can grab really quickly. An enchanted Orion bow hero challenge where we got this point of interest of Bait Falahin. No idea how we're supposed to pronounce that. Let's go ahead and defeat this really quickly. Try to group you up. Wow, I pulled the one behind him as well. That's super nice. Should be able to finish you very, very quickly. Easily successfully completed. And then we can continue forward where we have some stuff over here. This point of interest and Celia Bait? No idea. There's a champion inquest ornithologist right there. And then there is a champion risen knight right here. And then a veteran air elemental. So I'm just going to try to quickly defeat this air elemental. I just want to get this hero challenge and be safe and sound. The risen knight is kind of like flying around, it looks like. Is he? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Okay. Okay. We got the hero challenge, and I'm just leaving out this way. There's some air elementals here. We're going to leave that risen knight back there, and we're just charging into a war zone here. There's so many sparks everywhere, but the undead are also attacking this area. So let's go ahead and grab this waypoint. And then this is always a very confusing area to navigate through. We have Doric's Shrine, kind of a cool location. King Doric being a very important human. And then if you drop here, is this an entrance? We can go ahead and grab this point of interest here. Keen's Passage, where we got a hero challenge down here. But there's also like a group event that we might have to take care of. We have... Do you want to go this way? So there are... Oh, this is so annoying. We have a friend here with us to help us out. So let's go ahead and attack this group. Maybe. So it looks like there are 3 worshippers that hang out here. And it looks like one of them has died. One of them is a veteran who's about to die. And then one of them is a champion who's going to be a little tough to kill. And it's a really, really good thing that we have an ally here with us. This is a tough fight. Let's go ahead and go into Shroud so we get the health. And then we can go ahead and just heal our ally there. And then I'm almost dead here, which is unfortunate. But we could get up pretty quickly here. Let's use lifesteal. Our friend's about to go down. He's distracting the risen worshipper, so we can go ahead and revive. This is a pretty tough fight. He's stunned. Okay. Let's try to revive our friend here. Oh, I'm gonna die. Let's heal up. Okay, oh, we almost got our friend up. Okay, let's try to break the break bar and then we can heal here. Okay, our friend died, but they can potentially run back quickly. And then we need to run back quickly as well. So let's waypoint immediately. And let's try to find, is this the entrance? Right here. I think we can just run through here. Get back over here really quickly. And then start the fight again. Okay, so he didn't regain any health. And we are now alone. But I think we can finish off this enemy perhaps. And there we go. That was, we only got silver for that, really? Okay, let's go ahead and defeat this risen acolyte really quickly. And then run back this way. Let's try to get to this hero challenge really quickly. Commune with this place of power. I just got hit there. We're 97% complete with Malchor's lead now. That was an intense fight. But let's run this way. Grab this point of interest. It might be above us, actually. It is above us. So let's just get out of here. I got a special reward because I'm still recording this as we are approaching the end of Super Adventure Box. But I think if we jump up this way, the point of interest should be like right here, Plaza of Lights. And that leaves us with 1 point of interest left on the map, which I think is the final thing we need in this map. I think I got everything else. If I can just jump over these rocks and then over this way. Looks like we still have a couple of trebuchets left alive. But right over here we can see a map portal, and in front of the map portal is going to be our last point of interest, where we have like a very fun bridge coming this way. Right here we have Follower's Bridge, and we have now officially completed Malchor's Leap, where we got an Orion bow skin, which is very, very cool. Let's go ahead and just unlock this skin. And then we got Mail, taking a stand at Malchor's Leap. The German Priory, Vigil, and Order Whispers have long reported on their daily struggles getting their troops safely across the harsh territory of Malchor's Leap. However, they recently sent word on your time in that area. They tell us that you rose to this challenge, blazing your own trails to the undead lurking there. It seems you have helped solve many of those troop transport challenges. Due to the historical significance of Ur, we at the Tyrian Explorer Society look upon your recent exploits with both admiration and envy. You are truly an inspiration to your peers. Tyrian Explorer Society. Which, if we look at our map, we have 100% completed Malchor's Leap, which means we only have one map left to go throughout our adventures in the personal story, the Cursed Shore, which maybe we'll begin exploring in next episode. And then we have many story missions left to complete, and we will continue exploring more of Cursed Shore as we finish up our adventures in the personal story. We're getting very close to the end, my friends. But let's go ahead and call this episode good here. But I hope you all enjoyed watching, and I hope you all are taking good care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water, check your posture, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time in the Road to Tyria. Goodbye.